they were getting around 10,000 viewers a day. 10,000 a day. Now, let me put this in some context for you about that number. Let me put this in some context because it is very important that you have a proper context for this, okay? Because without that, you are not going to understand what the real issue is. Without that, you will not understand it. I want to read for you here from The Verge, from their story. And gonna very briefly go over this because this is really a damning statement. Okay, well, not The Verge. Let me go to the New York Post. Let me read to you here from the New York Post. The New York Post story here. CNN shutdown leaves ACT staffers aghast and furious. Skipping down a little bit, it says, CNN Plus, which one insider estimated the network spent $300 million launching, and between $100 million and $200 million advertising. Will cease streaming for good at the end of the month. $300 million. Now, to put that in perspective, 10,000 viewers at $300 million a pop is $3,000 a head. They spent $3,000 a head and couldn't get the numbers above that. That's not a little bit of money. That's gargantuan. You could start a whole social network for that kind of money. You could launch a cable channel for that kind of money. They basically threw that money away. Basically threw it away. So you ask yourselves here, well, what went wrong? What went wrong? Why would they spend that much money and be willing to lose that much money when these are supposed to be smart people? These are supposed to be smart, savvy media people. They're supposed to, it's their job. They get paid millions of dollars to be able to provide compelling content. They know better than this. So why did it go so badly? It's because their mission was to put out a certain message and to be able to steer the national conversation a certain way. So as a result, they were looking for certain individuals, even if those individuals are completely out of touch with the masses. Well, Jason, what are you talking about? Well, they were looking for people like, oh, well, what do you know? Oh, well. Yeah, that didn't take terribly long now, did it? That didn't take terribly long now, did it? You see, let me go ahead and put this together for you, because it was just about a month ago here that we were lamenting another debacle that should have proven an abject lesson to people, and obviously the lesson was not well received. The Black News Channel. The Black News Channel. Yet another cable television old media organism that completely ignored the will of the people, that attempted to rewrite the will of the people. We're going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars trying to refute the will of the people and tell the people, you don't know what you want. We're here to tell you what you want. And we're going to bring in all of our usual shills and lackeys. We're going to bring in Jamel Hill. We're going to bring in Mark Lamont Schill. We're going to bring in all these folks, and they're going to tell you what you want. You see, that's the problem when you sit in your little media bubbles. I told y'all, it's not just one place that's happening. Folks are losing gigantic sums of money betting their chips on individuals who cannot deliver the goods because they're looking for people who are already broken down and have already surrendered. And these folks will tell you whatever the hell it is you want to hear. They'll tell you whatever it is you want to hear, but the bottom line is that they are incompetent. They're incompetent. So you might like hearing from them. You might like hearing from them, and you might like believing that what they say. And it's like, oh, good, this is exactly what we want people to believe. But at the end of the day, they don't speak for the masses. You chose them because they promote your agenda, but they do not speak for the masses. You're never going to make it anywhere with these individuals. You like them because they undermine black folk. Problem, there are enough black people now who realize this is not in our interests. There are enough who are rejecting it now that there's nothing you can do. So what they're doing is they're sitting on cable television. Let me explain to you exactly what's happening. And make sure you all hit the likes for me. YouTube is going to try to suppress our likes tonight. Talk about folks who hate us in the media. They're going to try to suppress our likes tonight. So go ahead and if you like what you're hearing, give me a thumbs up in the chat room. Give me a thumbs up emoji in the chat room and hit the like button for me. Now, you all got to understand, when you take a look at this and you start comparing the raw data, if these folks were, if that $300 million was money well spent, if the people really rocked with you like that, then why is it you couldn't convert that cable TV audience to an internet audience? You see, what they were telling themselves is, well, take a look at Jemele Hill's Twitter following. Take a look at Jemele Hill's Twitter following. Why, certainly, how could we possibly go wrong there? Her Twitter following, if you take a look at that, why, all we got to do is sign her up and she'll promote it on her Twitter following. She'll go for that. Yeah, that'll work. Jemele Hill has 1.4 million Twitter followers. Let me say that again. On Twitter, Jemele Hill has 1.4 million Twitter followers. 1.4 million. And how much do her 1.4 million Twitter followers care about her? About this much. Less than 1%. About this much. That's what you get for betting on the wrong horse. We don't call ourselves the black media because we're guessing our way through this. We call ourselves the black media because we have our finger on the pulse of what the people truly think and what the people truly feel. We are the voice of the black street. You're trying to hire individuals who they are your bought and paid for Negro pets. And your Negro pets don't understand the street. They can sit up here and on Twitter, see, Twitter can give you 1 million followers. YouTube can give you 1 million followers. Facebook can give you 1 million. Instagram can give you 1 million. These social media platforms, they can rig it and they can give somebody 1 million followers. What they can't give you is genuine credibility. Now, that's what they can't give you. They can't give you genuine credibility. You got 1.4 million followers, and yet you've got no credibility among the masses. So that when you went to CNN Plus, you could not transport your audience with you. You were able to go from one platform to another, but your supposed alleged audience didn't follow you. They didn't follow you on ESPN. They're not following you on CNN. So they like you because you're one of these dependable Negroes that undermines black people. But what you are not able to do is galvanize black people to follow your position. And that's what this was really about. And what they're finding out is we've gotten a whole lot more done with, in their eyes, what would comparatively be a whole lot fewer resources. We've gotten a whole lot done with a whole lot fewer resources. We can get anywhere from 50,000 to 100,000 views within a couple of days. Way more than $10,000 views in a day. Way more than that. How is it that a media juggernaut with $300 million is unable to do that? You're unable to do that because you came on our side of the fence. And what they're finding out is it's not going to be nearly as easy over here as it is on the cable systems where you got the game rigged in your favor. And they're not the only ones. Some of the folks who are in the internet world are going to find it increasingly harder to compete. Take a look at the numbers that are happening on Netflix. Take a look at the numbers that are happening on Facebook. The bill is coming due. The bill is coming due. A lot of these platforms that thought that they were unassailable, a lot of them who thought they were going to transport audiences, a lot of them who thought, well, people just need to shut up and watch, binge watch, but don't think. We've been able to crack the door open just enough so that we can get a real message in there. And now it's begun to spread, and people are expecting more now. They're expecting more now. You can't get away with what you used to be able to get away with. You can't do what you used to be able to do. It's not going to work that way. Now, just like I said when I did the postmortem on the Black News Channel, what could CNN have done to avoid its fate? What could it have done? Is there anything they could have done to prevent this? Why, certainly, there are a number of things they could have done to prevent this. First of all, if you're going to go to the internet, you got to have people on the internet who have credibility as news sources, who have credibility for discussing news on the internet. What works on CNN during prime time and what works on MSNBC during prime time to their audience, that doesn't translate over here. The issues that you can rig to your audiences on cable news, that doesn't work in a more free-floating environment of the internet. Nobody is sitting around until 7 p.m. waiting for Chris Wallace or anybody to show up. That's not the way the internet works. Not looking for the new Walter Cronkite. You're going to have people who understand what the audience on the internet, which increasingly is becoming the only audience that there is, you're going to have to get folk who understand where they're at, the issues they're discussing. You see, when you turn on cable TV, you don't hear about reparations, except during a presidential debate. But on the internet, that's the daily discussion. And these folks desperately wish it were not so. But that is the daily discussion over here. That's what people are talking about over here. Black empowerment defined as socioeconomics. That's what we're talking about over here. What I'm telling you all is the very things and the very issues that CNN Plus champions and thinks are great and wonderful, and that this is what black folk need to really be concerned about. Those are dead issues in the real world. They're dead issues. And what they're doing is they're getting their advertisers to subsidize this for them on cable TV. But when they marched over here into the real world, they realized we kicked their butts. Well, yeah, because over here, it's Darwinism. Over here, it's survival of the fittest. If you're not actually saying what the people want to hear, if you don't actually have that, there's only so much rigging and gerrymandering they can do. But at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to fake credibility. And it doesn't matter how many times you trot out Jemele Hill. There's no group of black folk who are really just sitting here saying, oh boy, I can't wait till Jemele Hill weigh in on this. Nobody's saying that. You can go trot out Bowling Ball Martin. Nobody's sitting here waiting for him to show up. Oh boy, I can't wait till he show up and weigh in on what I need to find out what he has to say. No. The old church crowd, but that's going to be about it. But what you're not going to have is any influence when you back them. If they were ever going to get credibility, they'd have had the damn thing a long time ago. So you like them because they parrot your anti-black philosophy, but the problem is folks see through it. So there's no amount of money that you can, quote, invest in them that is going to give you a rate of return. You're not going to be able to get there. If CNN Plus were going to survive, then what CNN Plus would have needed to do was it would have needed to, and I'm not even saying me, I'm saying that you would have to have, if you're going to come to the internet, you're going to have people on the internet who understand where the people really are. Not a bunch of fakers and frauds and flunkies that you paid to show up and repeat your talking points. Talking points don't work like that over here. It doesn't work like that. Jemele Hill has spent the last decade running and hiding from us. Roland Martin's big roast beef built ass has spent the last decade running and hiding. You see, if they truly understood where the people were, they would be calling in, they would be debating us, they would be doing that. Instead, they go on Twitter and they want to block people, which is fine, it doesn't bother me. Then when we sit up here and make videos, then these clowns want to sit up here, Roland Martin wants to sit up here and put up bogus copyright flags, which, by the way, we were able to smack that down. And oh yeah, the video that he had censored, that he tried to censor, and I told y'all, don't worry, it's going to be back. It's almost at 100,000 views. So if you haven't seen my video, Roland Martin attacks Jason Black, the one that he put the false copyright claim on, and then YouTube kicked that mess back at him. Make sure you watch that when tonight's program is over. You see, that's what they have to do. If they actually had the audience, if they actually could articulate it and were confident that the people would back them, well, they wouldn't be sitting up here trying little grimy tactics. Oh, we'll file bogus claims. We'll try to ignore people. We'll try to block them. Well, if you really felt that you could defend what you're saying, you wouldn't be doing that. You'd be doing what we do. You see, when we go on Twitter Space, there's no filter there. So you see, we engage anybody who calls up, whether they agree with what we're saying or if they disagree with what we're saying, then we have to engage in the intellectual hand-to-hand combat in the arena of ideas where people can hear what we said, and then they get to make a decision about whether or not we actually know what the hell we're talking about and whether it's feasible and reliable, or whether or not we're Roland Martin and just bumbling and babbling through something and not really making a lot of sense. People can hear that. And that's what people want. They don't want a filter. They don't want Don Lemon or his producers sitting up here rigging the discussion and bringing talking points. They don't want any more rigged discussions. They want a discussion that more closely resembles the real world. They don't want rigged conversations anymore. They don't want you playing teacher's pet. They don't want you trying to censor things. They want to hear everything and then they will make up their minds. The old system of rigging the conversation, the internet audience, which is where the audience is now, has no desire for that. They don't need you to tell them what to think or what to believe or how to feel. They don't need that. And we're ready for it. You see, over here, man, this is like I would say a college course, but it's really like a dojo. You get slung around. It's like mixed martial arts school. You get slung around, you get kicked, you get knocked down. I mean, it's no holds barred over here. It's the damn Wild Wild West. And if you say something that is wrong, then there's a record of it, and the people who don't like you will keep repeating it over and over again. That's why Roland failed. That's why Jemele Hill has failed. As soon as people seize upon and recognize your vulnerability and recognize where you're lying at, as soon as they show that, Donna Brazile, hot sauce, butt dancing with Hillary Clinton. As soon as people see that, that's it. They remember that. So the margin for, you don't have producers who can go and eliminate a TV subject or topic and prevent it from being disseminated. You don't have that anymore. You see, over here, when you get exposed for being a shill or a flunky, people can preserve it. They can preserve it, they can play it, they can replay it over and over again. So it drills through into people's heads and permanently makes an impression on them about you. So the margin for error is much slimmer over here. And that's the environment that we came up in. You see, we actually had to work for this. Roland Martin was looking for somebody's ass to kiss his whole damn life, which is why he's failing. We didn't have that option. We had to pull it out the soil. We had to get good. We had to on-the-job train. We had to face people with degrees, PhDs, millions of dollars, in some cases billions. We've had to go up against all of those with no big-time connections, with no big-time funding, just us and the will of the people. That's what we had to deal with all this time. It's just been us and the will of the people. That's all we've had. And we've had to make that work. And we did make it work. Which is why when we come into this environment, our numbers are steadily growing, even though YouTube and these other platforms have attempted to suppress us. Imagine where our numbers would be if they weren't suppressing us. Imagine where they would be. Think about the amount of trouble that we're giving them now, and this is how much trouble we're giving them now while we're being suppressed. Imagine how bad the situation would be for them if we weren't being suppressed. Yeah, that's why they want to censor the internet, censor social media, and make it where the only people you can listen to are Jemele Hill and Bowling Ball Martin, and that's gonna be what you get. Even though the people have already voted and made it very clear that's not what they want. They don't trust them. They don't believe them. Now, they're not done. Folk asked me this years ago. They always ask the same question over and over again. Jason, do you think they're going to get the point? Man, look, as far as they're concerned, their survival hinges on our failure. They're not going to give this up. They're not going to give this up. They're not going to give this away. As far as they're concerned, their survival depends on our failure. So as far as they're concerned, they need us to fail. They need that. They need us to fail where, and they need us to lose. That's what they need. They need that. And what they're hoping is that we will be the incompetent operative class, is what they're hoping for. They're hoping that that's going to be us.